Jake Morrison stared at the screen in disbelief. The numbers made no sense. 40 ships, 40 alien warships dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the New Helena system. His mining colony had 3 patrol boats and a cargo hauler. This was not a fight. This was an execution. "Get everyone to the evacuation centers," Jake said to his second officer, a young woman named Mary Chen who had only been on the colony for 6 months. Her hands shook as she activated the emergency protocols. The alien fleet moved closer. They were big ships, angular and covered in weapons. Jake had never seen anything like them. Humanity had met 3 alien species so far, and all of them had been peaceful. These ships looked like they were built only for war. A message came through on all frequencies. The voice was harsh and mechanical, translated by their computers. "Humans of New Helena, you are now property of the Velkari Dominion. Surrender your world. Resistance will result in total destruction." Jake's jaw tightened. He thought about the 15,000 people on this colony. Families, children, people who came here to build a better life. He pressed the transmit button. "This is Commander Jake Morrison of New Helena Colony. We are a civilian settlement under Earth protection. Leave this system immediately or face consequences." The alien response was laughter. Cold, cruel laughter that echoed through the communication system. "You have 1 hour," the voice said. Then the channel went dead. Meanwhile, thousands of light years away on Earth, Dr. Lisa Grant was having the best day of her career. After 7 years of research, her team had finally cracked it. Quantum state weapons locking, the technology that would change everything. She stood in the Nevada research facility, watching the test results on her monitor. The weapons system existed in multiple states at once until someone observed it. It was armed and not armed. It was here and there. It was everything and nothing until reality decided what it needed to be. "This is incredible," her assistant, a brilliant young scientist named Peter Walsh, said beside her. "The probability fields are stable. We can actually weaponize quantum mechanics." Lisa allowed herself a smile, but it faded quickly when alarms blared throughout the facility. Emergency protocols. Something bad was happening. Admiral Kate Sullivan was in her quarters aboard the USS Vanguard when the call came. The ship was humanity's newest experimental warship, equipped with the quantum lock system that had just been installed last week. They hadn't even run proper combat tests yet. "Admiral, you need to get to the bridge," her executive officer said through the intercom. His voice carried urgency that made Kate's stomach drop. She was on the bridge in 90 seconds. The main screen showed a tactical display of the New Helena system. 40 red markers surrounded the colony. Friendly forces showed as 3 tiny blue dots. "What am I looking at?" Kate asked, though she already knew. "Velkari Dominion Fleet, ma'am," her tactical officer Ben Carter reported. "They've issued surrender demands to New Helena. The colony has 1 hour before they open fire." "Where's our nearest battle group?" 3 weeks away, Admiral. We're the only ship within range. We can be there in 18 hours if we push the quantum drive to maximum." Kate felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. 1 ship. 1 untested, experimental ship against 40 proven warships of an empire that had conquered 12 other species. "Set course for New Helena," she said. "Maximum speed, and get Dr. Grant on a secure channel. I need to know if this quantum lock system actually works." Back on New Helena, the hour was almost up. Jake had gotten most of the civilians into the underground shelters, but there wasn't room for everyone. 3,000 people remained in the orbital stations, unable to evacuate in time. The alien fleet moved into firing position. Jake watched helplessly from the command center as the Velkari warships charged their weapons. Bright energy built up along their hulls, crackling with destructive power. "Please," Mary whispered beside him, "please let Earth get here in time." But Earth was too far away. Everyone knew it. The evacuation ships were still loading. The patrol boats moved to intercept. 3 small vessels against 40 giants. It was brave. It was stupid. It was all they could do. The Valkyrie opened fire, not on the patrol boats, on the orbital stations. Massive plasma beams lanced through space and struck the station's dead center. The explosions were bright and terrible. 3,000 people died in seconds, vaporized before they could even scream. Jake felt something break inside him. The aliens weren't here to conquer. They were here to send a message. They were here to make humanity kneel. "All remaining ships, fall back to the planet," he ordered. His voice was steady despite the rage burning in his chest. "Get those evacuation ships loaded. We hold them off as long as we can." The patrol boats retreated, firing uselessly at the massive alien fleet. The Valkyrie didn't even bother to dodge. The human weapons bounced off their shields like raindrops. In space, the USS Vanguard pushed its quantum drive beyond safe limits. Kate stood on the bridge watching the countdown timer. 16 hours to New Helena. 16 hours to arrive at a battle they would probably lose. Dr. Lisa Grant's face appeared on the communication screen. She looked worried. "Admiral, the quantum lock system works in theory, but we've never tested it in real combat. I can't guarantee—" "I don't need guarantees, Doctor," Kate interrupted. "I need to know if we have a chance." Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. "Yes. If the system works as designed, you have more than a chance. You have an advantage they won't understand until it's too late." Kate allowed herself a grim smile. "Then let's hope quantum mechanics is on our side." The USS Vanguard raced through the darkness between stars, carrying humanity's hope and humanity's rage toward a battle that would change the galaxy forever. The USS Vanguard dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the New Helena system. On the bridge, every screen showed the tactical situation. 40 Valkyrie warships surrounded the colony world. 3 human patrol boats limped through space, barely functioning. Evacuation ships struggled to escape the planet's gravity well. Kate Sullivan studied the enemy formation. They had spread out, confident in their overwhelming numbers. They weren't even trying to hide their positions. Why would they? 1 human ship against their entire fleet. "They've detected us, Admiral," Ben Carter reported from the tactical station. His fingers danced across the quantum lock control panel, a system so new he'd only trained on it for 5 days. "They're broadcasting on open channels." "Let's hear it," Kate said. The Valkyrie commander's voice filled the bridge. It was different from the mechanical translation they'd used with New Helena. This was personal, mocking. "1 ship. The humans send 1 ship. This is the great Earth fleet we heard stories about? This is their rescue? I will destroy you quickly, as mercy for your foolishness." Kate's jaw tightened. She pressed the transmit button. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan of the USS Vanguard. You murdered 3,000 civilians. You will answer for that crime." More laughter from the Valkyrie. "Your 1 ship will make us answer. Come then, human. Come and die with honor, if you have any." The Valkyrie fleet began moving into attack formation, 40 ships against 1. The odds were impossible by any normal calculation, but quantum mechanics didn't care about normal calculations. "Ben, status on the quantum lock system?" Kate asked. "All systems green, Admiral. Probability fields are stable. Weapons are in superposition. Shields are ready." He looked up at her, and she saw fear mixed with excitement in his eyes. "We're as ready as we'll ever be. Then let's show them what humans can do. All ahead full. Take us right down their throat." The Vanguard accelerated toward the Valkyrie fleet. On New Helena, Jake Morrison watched from the command center. He saw 1 small blue marker on the tactical display charging toward 40 red ones. It looked like suicide. "That's Earth's response," Mary whispered. "1 ship?" Jake didn't answer. He didn't know what to say. Part of him wanted to believe. Part of him was already planning for the end. The Velkari opened fire first. Plasma beams lanced through space from a dozen ships simultaneously. Enough firepower to destroy a city, enough to vaporize any normal warship in seconds. The beams struck the Vanguard's shields, and then something impossible happened. The shields rippled. They flickered. They existed in multiple states at once. The plasma beams hit defenses that were here and not here, solid and not solid, one thing and everything all at once. The energy scattered across probability fields, dispersing into quantum foam. The Vanguard didn't even slow down. "Impossible!" the Velkari commander said over the open channel. His mockery was gone. Now there was only confusion. "Our sensors show direct hits. Your ship should be destroyed," Kate smiled. "Your sensors are lying. Quantum uncertainty makes that happen. Return fire. All weapons." The Vanguard's rail cannons fired, but these weren't normal projectiles. Each round existed in quantum superposition until it reached its target. The Velkari point defense systems tried to track them and failed completely. The projectiles were everywhere and nowhere. They existed in probability clouds that no computer could predict. 5 Velkari destroyers exploded simultaneously. The quantum rounds phased through their shields like the shields didn't exist. They struck reactor cores with perfect precision. 5 massive ships died in the same instant, torn apart from inside. The Velkari fleet scattered in panic. This wasn't supposed to happen. Their shields were the best in the galaxy. Their sensors could track anything, but they couldn't track weapons that existed in all possible states until observation collapsed the wave function. "Regroup!" the Velkari commander shouted over their communication channels. "All ships concentrate fire on the human vessel. Overwhelm their defenses." 20 ships turned their weapons on the Vanguard. The space around the human warship became a storm of plasma and missiles. Thousands of warheads converged on a single target. Ben Carter's hands flew across his controls. "Probability shields at maximum. Brace for impact." The missiles struck. The Vanguard shook as energy bled through the quantum fields. But the damage was minimal. The shields existed in too many defensive states at once. Some missiles hit shields angled to deflect. Some hit shields phased out of normal space. Some hit shields that absorbed and redistributed energy across quantum possibilities. What should have destroyed the Vanguard barely scratched its paint. "Launch quantum torpedoes," Kate ordered. "Fire at will." The Vanguard's torpedo tubes opened. The weapons that launched weren't like anything the Velkari had seen. Each torpedo existed in superposition, both armed and disarmed until it struck its target. Each one traveled along all possible trajectories simultaneously. The Velkari tried to shoot them down. Their point defense systems fired thousands of rounds. Every single shot missed. You can't hit a target that exists everywhere and nowhere. 10 torpedoes struck 10 different Velkari ships. They phased through shields and armor like they were passing through air. Inside each ship, the warheads collapsed into a single state. Armed. The explosions tore through reactors, magazines, and life support systems. 10 more Velkari warships died. The fleet that had numbered 40 now counted only 25, and they'd barely scratched the human ship. "Retreat!" the Velkari commander finally screamed. "All ships, retreat immediately! This weapon is beyond our understanding!" The surviving Velkari ships turned and ran. They pushed their drives to maximum, desperate to escape. The Vanguard pursued, firing as it went. Kate's face was cold and hard as stone. "Admiral, they're running," Ben said. "Should we break off pursuit?" Kate thought about the 3,000 civilians who died in the first minutes of the battle. She thought about the families who would never be whole again. She thought about the message Earth needed to send. "No," she said quietly. "Let them run, but make sure some of them escape to tell their empire what happened here. Let them spread fear. Let them know that humanity is not prey." The Vanguard fired its last volley. 3 more Velkari ships exploded. The remaining vessels jumped to faster-than-light speed and vanished. Out of 40 ships, only 6 escaped. On New Helena, Jake Morrison stood in shocked silence. The tactical display told an impossible story. 1 human ship had destroyed or disabled 34 alien warships. The Velkari fleet was gone. The colony was saved. "They did it," Mary whispered. "1 ship. They actually did it." Kate Sullivan sat back in her command chair. Her hands were shaking slightly, though she kept her face calm. Around her, the bridge crew erupted in cheers. "Stand down from combat alert," she ordered. "Hail the colony. Let them know they're safe." She looked at Ben Carter. "And send a full report to Earth. Tell them the quantum lock system works. Tell them it works better than we ever dreamed." In the darkness of space, the USS Vanguard held position over New Helena. 1 ship, 1 impossible weapon. The galaxy would never be the same. The Velkari Supreme Council chamber was built to inspire fear. Black stone walls rose 50 meters high. The ceiling showed a map of their empire, 12 conquered species marked in red. Supreme Commander Zekthar stood at the center, his 4 arms spread wide as he faced the council. "Impossible," one council member hissed. 40 ships do not lose to 1. The survivors must be cowards who fled without fighting." Zekthar slammed his lower fists on the stone table. "I have reviewed the battle recordings. The survivors did not flee. They ran from a weapon we do not understand. The human ship's defenses exist in states our sensors cannot read. Their weapons phase through our shields like they are not there." "Then we send more ships," another council member said. "We are the Velkari Dominion. We have conquered entire species. We will not be stopped by 1 human vessel." Zekthar nodded slowly. His eyes glowed with the cold light of determination. "Yes, we send more. We send everything. I will personally lead a grand armada of 300 ships. We will crush this human colony and burn their Earth to ash." The council roared approval. Orders went out across the empire. Every available warship received orders to gather. The Velkari would show the humans what happened to species who dared resist. On Earth, the mood was very different. The Quantum Warfare Division building in Nevada was crowded with military officers and scientists. Dr. Lisa Grant stood at a podium, showing the battle data from New Helena. "The quantum lock system exceeded all projections," she explained. "The probability fields remained stable even under sustained fire. The weapons achieved 100% hit rates because they exist in all trajectories until observation." Colonel Ryan Pierce, a veteran military strategist, studied the numbers with interest. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Doctor, how many ships can we equip with this system? If the Velkari come back with greater numbers, we'll need more than 1 vessel." Lisa pulled up production schedules on the screen. "We can have 5 ships fully equipped within 2 weeks. After that, we can add 2 ships per week. But training crews on quantum warfare takes time. This isn't like normal combat." "We don't have time," Ryan said quietly. "Intelligence reports show the Velkari are assembling a massive fleet. They're coming back, and they're bringing everything they have." In Washington, Senator Amy Brooks stood before the Congressional Defense Committee. She was a woman in her 50s who had spent 20 years fighting for peaceful solutions to conflicts. Now she faced something that challenged all her beliefs. "We're talking about a weapon that gives us total military superiority," she said to the committee. "A weapon that makes us nearly invincible. That kind of power is dangerous. It will change us. It will make us the same as the empires we claim to be better than." General Chris Walker sat across from her. He was a combat veteran who had seen friends die in humanity's early encounters with hostile species. "Senator, with respect, we didn't start this war. The Velkari murdered 3,000 civilians. They came to our colony to enslave or kill everyone there. The quantum lock system is the only reason New Helena still exists." "But where does it end?" Amy pressed. We have this power now. How long before we use it not to defend but to conquer? How long before we become the empire everyone fears? The alternative is being conquered ourselves, Chris replied. The galaxy isn't a peaceful place. We have to be strong enough to survive. The debate raged while the clock ticked down. Admiral Kate Sullivan oversaw the rapid training of 4 new crews. The USS Phoenix, USS Horizon, USS Tempest, and USS Defiant were receiving quantum lock systems. Ben Carter had been promoted and transferred to help train the new tactical officers. It's not just about understanding the technology, Ben explained to a room of young officers. It's about thinking in probability rather than certainty. Quantum warfare means accepting that multiple outcomes exist until you observe the result. Your weapons are both hitting and missing until reality decides. Your shields are both there and not there. You have to trust the mathematics. One young officer, a woman named Kelly Davis, raised her hand. Sir, doesn't that mean our weapons could fail? If they're in superposition, what guarantees they hit? Ben smiled. That's the beautiful part. They exist in all possible trajectories. That means they will hit. They exist in the trajectory that reaches the target. The only way they miss is if there's literally no possible path to the target. And in space, there's always a path. Meanwhile, Jake Morrison was dealing with the aftermath on New Helena. The colony had lost its orbital stations and 3,000 people. Families were broken. Children were orphaned. The joy of being saved was mixed with the grief of loss. We need counselors, Mary told him as they walked through the crowded refugee center. People are having nightmares. Some can't stop crying. They watched those stations explode, Jake nodded. Earth is sending support ships, medical teams, counselors, supplies, but it'll be weeks before they arrive. He paused. What we really need is justice. Those aliens killed our people. They need to pay for what they did. 2 weeks after the Battle of New Helena, long-range sensors detected the Velkari fleet. 300 ships, dreadnoughts, battleships, cruisers, destroyers. It was the largest military force the Velkari had assembled in 50 years. Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the USS Vanguard, looking at the tactical display. Around her, 4 other quantum-locked ships held formation. The USS Phoenix, commanded by Captain Alex Hunt. The USS Horizon under Captain Nicole Barnes. The USS Tempest with Commander Eric Stone. The USS Defiant, led by Captain Sam Rodriguez. 5 ships against 300. The odds were worse than the first battle, but this time, Earth knew what the quantum lock system could do. This time, they were ready. All ships? This is Admiral Sullivan, Kate said over the fleet channel. The Velkari are coming to finish what they started. They murdered our people. They think numbers will save them, but they don't understand. This isn't about numbers anymore. This is about physics, and physics is on our side. Vanguard Actual, this is Phoenix, Alex Hunt's voice came through. We're ready to make them pay. The other captains confirmed readiness. 5 quantum-locked warships prepared to face an armada. Supreme Commander Zekthar sat in his command ship at the head of the Velkari fleet. He looked at the sensor readings showing 5 human vessels. Only 5. He had expected more after the reports from New Helena. They sent only 5 ships against our 300, his tactical officer said. Either they are fools or they know something we do not. It does not matter, Zekthar replied. We will crush them with overwhelming force. All ships prepare to attack. Show these humans the true power of the Velkari Dominion. The 2 fleets moved closer. The space between them shrank. In minutes, the second battle for New Helena would begin. And this time, the entire galaxy would learn what humanity could do. The Velkari Grand Armada spread across space like a dark cloud. 300 warships in perfect formation, dreadnoughts at the center surrounded by layers of smaller vessels. Supreme Commander Zekthar watched the 5 human ships on his display. They looked so small, so insignificant. "Open a channel to the humans," he ordered. "Let me speak to their commander." Kate Sullivan's face appeared on his screen. Zekthar studied her. She looked calm. Too calm for someone facing 300 warships. "Human Admiral, I am Supreme Commander Zekthar. I offer you one chance to surrender. Power down your weapons. Abandon your colony. Leave this system immediately. Do this, and I promise your deaths will be quick." Kate's expression didn't change. "Commander Zekthar, I'm going to give you the same chance. Turn your fleet around. Leave this system. Never return to human space. Do that, and maybe some of your ships survive the next hour." Zekthar's 4 arms tensed in anger. "You face 300 ships with only 5. You are either brave or insane." "Maybe both," Kate replied. She leaned forward slightly. "You saw what one ship did to your fleet at New Helena. Now there are 5 of us. And we're not running. We're not hiding. We're here to end this." She closed the channel. Zekthar stared at the blank screen for a moment. Then he turned to his weapons officer. "All ships, open fire. Destroy them all." The Velkari fleet unleashed hell. Thousands of plasma beams and missiles filled space. The combined firepower could have destroyed a moon. It converged on the 5 human ships from every direction. The quantum lock shields activated. Kate watched her display as the probability fields expanded around all 5 vessels. The Velkari weapons struck shields that existed in infinite defensive states. Some attacks hit shields angled perfectly to deflect. Some hit shields that weren't even in normal space. Some hit shields that existed as pure probability fields. The storm of fire washed over the human ships. When it cleared, all 5 vessels remained. Undamaged. Untouched. "Impossible," Zekthar whispered. His sensors showed direct hits, thousands of direct hits, but the human ships flew on as if nothing had happened. "All ships, return fire," Kate ordered calmly. "Weapons free. Show them what quantum superiority looks like." The USS Vanguard fired first. Quantum-locked railgun rounds streaked toward the Velkari formation. Each projectile existed in superposition, both matter and wave, particle and probability. The Velkari point defense systems tried to track them. Every targeting computer failed. You cannot track what exists in all places until observed. 15 Velkari ships exploded. The quantum rounds phased through their shields and struck their reactors. Perfect hits. 1 shot, 1 kill. The USS Phoenix joined in. Captain Alex Hunt had studied the battle data from the first engagement. He knew the quantum weapons worked best when fired in rapid succession. His ship's railguns fired so fast, they sounded like a continuous roar. 20 more Velkari ships died. Alex didn't target the big dreadnoughts. He went after the destroyers and cruisers, cutting down the fleet's numbers ship by ship. Commander Eric Stone aboard the USS Tempest took a different approach. He launched quantum-locked fighters, small craft that held 1 pilot each. But these fighters existed in probability clouds. Velkari sensors couldn't lock onto them. They phased in and out of normal space, appearing just long enough to fire before vanishing again. The fighters danced through the Velkari formation like ghosts. Each one carried quantum torpedoes that could phase through any defense. They hit the big dreadnoughts, targeting weak points in the massive ship's armor. One by one, the pride of the Velkari fleet began to crack and burn. Zekthar watched his armada die. Over 100 ships destroyed in the first 10 minutes. His weapons couldn't touch the humans. His shields couldn't stop their weapons. It was like fighting shadows. Like fighting reality itself. "All ships fall back," he ordered. "Regroup at distance. We need a new strategy." But the human ships pursued. The USS Defiant, under Captain Sam Rodriguez, cut off the Velkari retreat. Sam was a tactical genius who saw patterns in chaos. He positioned his ship to force the Velkari into a kill zone where all 5 human vessels could fire at once. The Velkari fleet tried to scatter. Some ships went left, Some went right. Some tried to jump to faster-than-light speed. But the quantum-locked weapons didn't care about evasion. They existed in all trajectories. If there was any possible path to the target, they would hit. 50 more Valkyrie ships exploded. The Grand Armada that had numbered 300 now counted fewer than 150. And still, the human ships pressed forward, untouched by the storm of fire directed at them. On New Helena, Jake Morrison watched the battle on the colony's tactical display. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. 5 ships were destroying an Empire's fleet. Mary stood beside him, tears streaming down her face. "They're winning," she whispered. "They're actually winning." The battle raged for another hour. The USS Horizon, commanded by Captain Nicole Barnes, specialized in long-range strikes. Her ship's quantum torpedoes could phase across enormous distances. She picked off Valkyrie ships that tried to flee, her weapons appearing inside their hulls without crossing the space between. The Valkyrie fought with desperation. They tried massed attacks. They tried spreading out. They tried concentrating their fire on single targets. Nothing worked. The quantum lock system made the human ships nearly invincible while making their weapons unstoppable. 200 Valkyrie ships lay destroyed or disabled. Debris filled the space around New Helena. Escape pods drifted everywhere as alien crews abandoned their dying vessels. Zekthar sat in his command chair, his 4 arms trembling. He had lost. His Grand Armada was shattered. The Valkyrie Dominion's military power was broken, and the humans had barely taken damage. "Open a channel," he said quietly. "To all ships. All frequencies." His tactical officer looked at him in shock. "Supreme Commander, surely we can still—" "Open the channel," Zekthar said firmly. "Now!" The channel opened. Zekthar's voice broadcast to every ship, both Valkyrie and human. "This is Supreme Commander Zekthar to all vessels. The Valkyrie Dominion offers immediate and total surrender. We acknowledge defeat. We request mercy and terms." His voice was heavy with shame. "We did not understand the power we faced. We were wrong to attack." Kate Sullivan listened to the surrender broadcast. Part of her wanted to keep firing, to make them pay for every civilian they'd killed. But she was a soldier, not a murderer. "All human ships, cease fire," she ordered. "Hold positions. Do not pursue fleeing vessels." The guns went silent. The quantum-locked ships held formation, surrounding the remains of the Valkyrie fleet. In the span of 2 hours, 5 human vessels had destroyed or disabled over 250 alien warships. Kate opened a channel to Zekthar. "Commander, your surrender is accepted. You will travel to Earth to negotiate terms. You will release any human prisoners. You will pay reparations for the lives lost. And you will never again threaten human space. Are these terms understood?" Zekthar bowed his head. All 4 arms spread in a gesture of submission. "They are understood, Admiral Sullivan. The Valkyrie Dominion will comply." On Earth, billions watched the battle footage. Humanity had faced an empire that conquered 12 species. And humanity had won. Not through numbers, not through luck, through superior technology and the courage to stand against impossible odds. The quantum lock had changed everything. The galaxy would never be the same. Supreme Commander Zekthar had never felt shame before. In 50 years of military service, he had conquered worlds and broken empires. Now he stood in a diplomatic shuttle, escorted by the USS Vanguard, traveling to meet with humans on their homeworld. The escort was not necessary. His spirit was already broken. Earth appeared on the view screen, blue and green and beautiful. Zekthar understood now why humans fought so hard for their colonies. If this was their home, they would protect anything that reminded them of it. Admiral Kate Sullivan walked through the corridors of the Vanguard. Her crew treated her like a hero. Everywhere she went, people saluted and congratulated her. But Kate felt the weight of command more than ever. Yes, they had won. Yes, humanity was safe. but over 200 Velkari ships had been destroyed, thousands of alien soldiers dead. War always had a cost. The shuttle docked at the Geneva space station. Zekthar walked down the ramp with his honor guard. Human soldiers lined the corridor, their weapons lowered but ready. He was led to a large conference room where Earth's unified council waited. President Laura Martinez sat at the head of the table. She was a woman in her 60s with kind eyes that had seen too much hardship. Beside her sat Dr. Lisa Grant, General Chris Walker, Colonel Ryan Pierce, and Senator Amy Brooks. Admiral Kate Sullivan entered last and took her seat. "Commander Zekthar," Laura began, her voice formal. "You stand before this council as a representative of the Velkari Dominion. You attacked our colony without provocation. You murdered 3,000 civilians. You brought war to humanity's doorstep. What do you have to say?" Zekthar's 4 arms hung at his sides. "I have no defense for our actions. We believed humans were weak. We believed you would surrender like the other species we conquered. We were wrong." He looked around the table. "I am here to accept whatever punishment you deem appropriate." Senator Amy Brooks leaned forward. "Your empire has conquered 12 species, enslaved their populations, built your power on the suffering of others. Why should we believe anything you say now?" "You should not," Zekthar replied honestly. "Words mean nothing. Actions are what matter. I can only offer the truth and hope you will listen." Dr. Lisa Grant activated a holographic display. It showed the quantum lock system's specifications, the battle data, the overwhelming advantage it provided. "Your empire is built on conventional warfare," she said. "Ships, shields, weapons that follow the normal rules of physics. Our quantum lock technology breaks those rules. We exist in probability states your science cannot counter. You surrendered because you had no choice." "Yes," Zekthar agreed. "Your weapon is beyond our understanding. One of your ships could destroy 100 of ours. With this power, you could conquer the entire galaxy." "We don't want to conquer," Laura said firmly. "We want peace, but we will not be victims either. We propose a different arrangement." General Chris Walker pulled up a star map. It showed Velkari territory, human space, and the vast region between. "Your empire spans 40 systems," Chris explained. "You've held that territory for over a century through military force. We propose a mutual defense pact. Humanity will provide protection for Velkari worlds. In exchange, you release all enslaved species, share your scientific knowledge, and agree to never again threaten human interests." Zekthar stared at the proposal in disbelief. "You would protect us? After we attacked you?" "We would protect civilizations from threats they cannot handle themselves," Kate Sullivan said quietly. "That's different from protecting you personally. If your empire falls, 12 enslaved species fall with it. We can't allow that." Colonel Ryan Pierce added, "We're also being practical. Training our crews on quantum warfare takes time. We need allies who understand the region, who have diplomatic relationships with other species. You have that knowledge. We have the military power. Together, we're stronger." "But there's more," Zekthar said slowly. "You wouldn't offer this just for practical reasons. What are you not telling me?" Laura and the other humans exchanged glances. Finally, Laura nodded. "Tell him," she said. Zekthar straightened. "Tell me what?" The Velkari commander activated his own datapad. He pulled up classified files, information that only the Supreme Council knew. Images appeared on the holographic display. Massive machines, swarms of artificial intelligence, death on a scale that made the recent battle look like a small skirmish. "These are the harvesters," Zekthar said quietly. "They come from the galactic core. They are ancient machines that consume all biological life. They destroyed the civilization that built them 5,000 years ago. Now they spread, eating everything in their path." Dr. Lisa Grant leaned forward, studying the images. "How long have you known about this?" For 300 years, the harvesters destroyed the Velkari homeworld. We fled. We conquered other worlds not out of cruelty but out of desperation. We needed resources. We needed soldiers. We needed the strength to face the harvesters when they came. Zekthar's voice broke slightly. Everything we did to survive. The room fell silent. Senator Amy Brooks closed her eyes. You're saying the Velkari Empire was built in response to an extinction-level threat? Yes, and that threat is coming. Our long-range sensors detected harvester scouts in the Outer Rim 2 months ago. They're getting closer. In perhaps 5 years, they will reach populated space. When they do, every biological species in this region will die. Zekthar looked at Kate Sullivan. Unless your quantum lock weapons can stop them. Kate felt the weight of that statement. Can they? Can quantum weapons hurt these machines? We don't know. No conventional weapon works. The harvesters adapt to any attack. They learn. They evolve. But your quantum weapons exist in states they cannot predict. They might be the only thing that can destroy them. Laura Martinez stood up. She walked to the window and looked out at Earth below. After a long moment, she turned back. Commander Zekthar, here are our terms. The Velkari Dominion will immediately release all enslaved species. You will provide full technical data on the harvesters. You will share all sensor data on their movements. In exchange, humanity will establish a joint defense fleet, quantum-locked ships crewed by both humans and Velkari, protecting all species in this region. You would trust us after everything we've done? Zekthar asked. Trust is earned over time, Laura replied. But survival requires cooperation. The harvesters don't care about our past conflicts. They'll kill us all equally. We can either fight together or die separately. Zekthar stood at attention. All 4 arms crossed his chest in a Velkari salute. On behalf of the Velkari Dominion, I accept these terms. We will work with humanity to face the coming threat. 6 months later, Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the USS Vanguard, now flagship of the Allied Defense Fleet. Around her ship, 49 other quantum-locked vessels held formation. Some were purely human-crewed. Some were mixed crews of humans and Velkari. Some had representatives from the newly freed species. Jake Morrison had been promoted to captain. He now commanded the USS New Helena, a brand-new quantum-locked destroyer named after the colony that started everything. Mary served as his second officer. Dr. Lisa Grant worked with Velkari scientists in the expanded Quantum Research Division. Together, they were developing new applications of the technology, shields that could phase entire planets out of normal space, weapons that could strike targets across light years. On the edge of known space, sensor stations watched for the harvesters. Long-range scanners detected anomalies, strange readings, signs of something massive moving through the darkness between stars. Kate looked at her crew, humans and aliens working together. She thought about how far they'd come. 6 months ago, humans and Velkari were enemies. Now they were allies facing a common threat. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Outer Rim stations, her communication officer reported. It's a priority alert. Kate's stomach tightened. Put it on screen! The image showed a sensor officer, a young Velkari named Kesh. His face was pale with fear. Admiral Sullivan, we have confirmation. Harvester fleet detected. Approximately 5,000 vessels. Current speed indicates they will reach the border systems in 3 years. He paused. They're coming. Kate took a deep breath. She looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew, human and Velkari, former enemies now united. Sound general alert. All ships prepare for mobilization. Contact all allied species. Tell them it's time. She stood up from her command chair. We've had 3 years to prepare. We have the quantum lock. We have each other. The harvesters are coming, but we're ready. In the depths of space, the quantum-locked fleet began to move. 50 ships carrying humanity's hope and the galaxy's last chance. The real war was about to begin, and this time, humanity wouldn't be fighting for one colony. They'd be fighting for every living thing in the galaxy. The quantum-locked human warship that made aliens surrender on sight was now part of something greater, a shield for all species, a sword against extinction. And in the darkness between stars, the machines came on, unaware that this time they faced an enemy they couldn't adapt to. Because you cannot adapt to weapons that exist in all states until observed. You cannot plan for attacks that come from probability itself. The Harvesters had consumed civilizations for 5,000 years, but they had never fought quantum warfare. And they were about to learn what happened when mathematics became a weapon.